Ever wondered what it's like when young folks find themselves in prison? Join us as we look into the lives of the most feared teen in prison. Get set for fascinating stories, chilling experiences, and secrets revealed behind those prison walls. It's not just about being stuck, it's a journey through tough times that proves even challenging paths can lead to a fresh start. Are you ready to hear the interesting stories from behind those prison doors? Let's get started. Aiden Fucci. The case of Aiden Fucci revolves around the brutal murder of 13-year-old Tristan Bailey in St. Johns County, Florida, on Mother's Day, May 9, 2021. Aiden Fucci, who was 14 years old at the time, got arrested for first-degree murder connected to Tristan's death. The details of the case are disturbing, revealing concerning behavior leading up to this tragic event. Tristan Bailey, a cheerful student and cheerleader at Patriot Oaks Academy, was well liked in her community. Her sudden disappearance and discovery as a murder victim deeply shook everyone. Aiden Fucci, another student and neighbor, became the main suspect. Disturbingly, people reported that Fucci had talked about violent fantasies and wanting to harm someone, despite having no prior criminal record. On the night of Tristan Bailey's murder, Fucci asked for her phone number, convincing her to meet him. Surveillance footage showed them walking together, but only Fucci returned, alone and carrying his shoes. Tristan Bailey's autopsy revealed the horrifying details of her injuries, with 114 stab and cutting wounds, including defensive injuries indicating her fight for survival. During the investigation, Fucci gave inconsistent statements, initially claiming they were at a friend's house, but later admitting to an argument leading to a physical altercation. Initially charged with second-degree murder, it was upgraded to first-degree due to the extreme brutality. Fucci, despite being a minor, was charged as an adult. Social media played a role, with a Snapchat message from Fucci making light of the situation. Additional evidence included a knife matching the crime scene found near Tristan's body, blood-stained clothing in Fucci's room, and violent drawings. In March 2023, just before trial, Aiden Fucci changed his plea to guilty. He received a life sentence, ensuring he'll spend a significant portion of his life behind bars, possibly with a chance of a lighter sentence after 25 years, as per Florida law. The judge described Tristan Bailey's death as painful, horrifying, and the crime as heinous, atrocious, and cruel. Shawnell Jackson. Picture a courtroom where the tension is so thick you can almost touch it. Let's rewind to 2010, when 19-year-old Shawnell Jackson faced the judge for a shocking crime. He was found guilty of killing 21-year-old Nathan Potter during a robbery at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Now, this crime wasn't just bad, it was chilling. Jackson and his 20-year-old buddy, Derek Thomas, shot Nathan dead even though he had no money. The courtroom got even more unsettling because Jackson didn't seem sorry at all. He even smiled at Nathan's family as he left the room. Creepy, right? Nathan's dad, John Potter, spoke up during the trial, admitting no words could bring Nathan back. But he asked the judge for a punishment that matched the horror of the crime. He threw a haunting question in the air: is there such a thing as pure evil? We think so. When the judge said Jackson was getting life in prison with no chance of parole, things went nuts. Jackson exploded with curses at the judge. The police, probably expecting this because of Jackson's behavior, jumped in. They had to use pepper spray to stop him. But the drama didn't stop there. Jackson's family, sitting in the back, started attacking Nathan's mum with insults. Imagine, after losing her son and enduring this long trial, she had to face more hate. People watching this courtroom roller coaster were outraged. They couldn't understand why Jackson's family would act this way, especially considering the terrible crime he committed. The focus shifted to the Potter family, who had already been through so much. James Fairweather. James Fairweather, a name etched in infamy for heinous crimes, shook the community of Colchester, Essex in 2014 and 2015. At a mere 15 years old, Fairweather became one of the UK's youngest serial killers, leaving 2 innocent victims dead and casting a dark shadow over the entire town. Fairweather, a student at Colchester Academy, faced difficulties at school exacerbated by an undiagnosed case of dyslexia. His troubled upbringing was marked by the profound impact of his grandmother's death in 2012. The first victim, 33-year-old James Atfield, was found brutally stabbed to death in Castle Park, Colchester, in March 2014. Fairweather inflicted over 100 stab wounds, claiming that voices compelled him to choose Atfield as a victim. In June 2014, Fairweather struck again, murdering 31-year-old Saudi student Nahid Al-Manea on Salary Brook Trail. The violence was equally gruesome, with Fairweather ensuring she could not see evil by stabbing her eyes and brain. Despite Fairweather providing an alibi during questioning, his arrest came in May 2015 when he was spotted acting suspiciously. Wearing rubber-gripped gloves and carrying a knife, he was apprehended. Psychiatric assessments revealed disturbing thoughts, with Fairweather claiming to hear voices urging him to commit violent acts. Fairweather's trial unfolded in January 2016 at the Old Bailey. While he admitted to manslaughter due to diminished responsibility, a court psychiatrist found no evidence to support this claim. Despite his age, the jury unanimously found Fairweather guilty in April 2016, leading to a life sentence with a minimum term of 27 years. Attempts to appeal the sentence were rejected, leaving a lasting impact on the victims' families and Colchester. The case, explored in documentaries, raises questions about the factors contributing to Fairweather's descent into violence and the enduring trauma inflicted on the community. Jennifer Ann Mee, born on July 28, 1991, became widely known as the Hiccup Girl in 2007 due to her persistent and uncontrollable case of hiccups. Her fame took a dark turn when she became involved in a murder case that led to her conviction and a life sentence in prison. At the age of 15, Mee gained media attention for her mysterious and continuous hiccups, reaching up to 50 times a minute. Her quest for a cure became a national fascination, and she appeared on various television shows. Dr. Bob Lend eventually helped bring her hiccups under control, ending her time as the Hiccup Girl. In 2010, after her hiccups had subsided, Mee met a man online and, along with two friends, robbed and fatally shot him. The victim, Shannon Griffin, was lured to a vacant house where he was ambushed. Mee played an accomplice role in the crime. Mee, along with her friends Lamont Newton and Laren Rayford, was arrested and admitted to their involvement in the robbery and murder. During the trial, Mee's lawyer proposed a guilty plea for a 15-year sentence, but it was not accepted. Evidence, including a recorded jailhouse phone call and DNA on the victim's shirt, was presented against her. Despite claims of schizophrenia and suggestions of Tourette's syndrome, Mee was deemed competent to stand trial. In 2013, she was found guilty of first-degree murder and received a life sentence without parole. Her co-defendants also received the same sentence. Attempts for a new trial were denied, and Mee's sentencing faced criticism for being seen as disproportionate. Her remarkable shift from a media darling to a convicted murderer raised questions about the criminal justice system's handling of her case. Dant Wright, just 18 years old at the time, became entangled in a tragic case involving the murder of Jordan Klee, a high school student from Ann Arbor, Michigan. The incident unfolded on October 4, 2016, resulting in the loss of a young life and leaving a lasting impact on both families involved. Wright, along with two other teenagers, Jamarius Ellison and Delrano Gracie, was accused of attempting to steal controlled substances, clothing, and shoes from Jordan Klee. In the course of this robbery attempt, Wright admitted to shooting Klee, leading to his untimely death. The consequences of Wright's actions were severe, and the aftermath of the incident was a heart-wrenching experience for both families. Jordan Klee's life was tragically cut short, depriving his family of the joy of seeing him navigate his senior year at Pioneer High School and all the dreams that come with that pivotal time. In July 2017, Dant Wright was sentenced to 52 years in prison. However, during the sentencing hearing, Judge David Swartz considered revoking the sentence when he observed Wright smirking. This demeanor, especially in such a serious situation, added to the emotional turmoil experienced by the victim's family. TJ Lane. In the tranquil town of Shardon, Ohio, the morning of February 27, 2012, started like any typical school day. However, within the confines of Shardon High School, a chilling tragedy transpired, forever linking the name TJ Lane to infamy. Thomas Michael Lane III, known as TJ, was a name that would become synonymous with a horrifying act. Born on September 19, 1994, he was just 17 years old at the time, appearing to be an ordinary teenager. But on that fateful day, the facade of normalcy shattered. Beneath the surface, hidden tensions, rivalries, and personal conflicts culminated in an unthinkable act of violence. TJ Lane was no longer just a student, he became the perpetrator. In the early hours of that February morning, chaos erupted in the cafeteria as TJ Lane, armed with a .22 caliber handgun stolen from his own family, opened fire. His target was clear, a group of students, including Russell King Jr., who had unwittingly become the focus of Lane's fury due to a past romantic involvement. Panic seized the cafeteria as shots rang out. 5 students bore the brunt of Lane's rampage, and 3 lives were tragically cut short: Daniel Parmator, Russell King Jr., and Demetrius Hewlin. Their dreams and aspirations were extinguished in an instant. In the aftermath, grief and disbelief clouded the community. TJ Lane fled the scene, but was swiftly apprehended by law enforcement near his car park just outside the school. Soon, he would face the consequences of his heinous actions. Legal proceedings unfolded, and Lane's fate was sealed. Tried as an adult, he admitted his guilt in March 2013. His punishment, 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. The Shardon High School shooting, forever imprinted in the nation's memory, left a community scarred by the loss of innocence and the profound tragedy that unfolded within its halls. TJ Lane, once an ordinary teenager, became a symbol of the darkest human impulses, forever associated with an unspeakable act of violence. Antonio Barreau. In a small town in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, something terrible happened in September 2012 that changed many lives. This story is about a teenager named Antonio Barreau, who went from a regular life to being involved in a shocking act of violence. Antonio Barreau's life took a dark turn when he and his friend, Nathan Pape, were accused of brutally murdering his great-grandmother, 78-year-old Barbara Olson. The details of the crime were very sad, involving the use of a hammer and hatchet to harm their elderly victim in her Sheboygan Falls home. The legal process that followed brought a lot of attention to the young defendant. Barreau first said he wasn't guilty because of mental health issues, raising questions about how he was feeling at the time of the crime. A doctor talked about problems Antonio had because of a car accident when he was only 10 years old. They thought this event might have influenced his behavior. Surprisingly, Antonio Barreau decided to make a deal that changed what would happen in court. He said he wasn't contesting the charge of intentional homicide, which was a big step in the legal process. The deal meant that Barreau could be considered for parole in 36 years. When he was being sentenced, Antonio Barreau found it hard to express how sorry he was for what he did. It was clear he felt a lot of regret, but his lawyer stepped in to help explain just how serious this was. Barreau recognized the pain he caused to his victim's family, understanding that his quick decisions had ruined many lives. Antonio Barreau's sad journey from a troubled young person with problems to someone who did something terrible is a reminder of how different things can come together to lead someone down a bad path. Even though what he did will always be remembered by those affected, his own life will be about spending a long time in prison with a small chance of being released when he's 50 in 2048. A big difference from the young and innocent person he used to be. If you're enjoying these intriguing stories, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating content. Simply click on the video on your screen to explore another fascinating tale.